Henry was just an ordinary toll booth worker, living a colorless life, until one night his best friend dragged him into a heist that changed everything. From a prison cell to a daring plan for the biggest bank robbery in town, Henry is forced to choose between love, loyalty, and survival. But can a simple man really outsmart the system, or will his past catch up with him? Today we're diving into a gripping story of dreams, betrayal, and redemption. The story begins with Henry, an extremely simple and straight-laced man, working the night shift at a toll booth. From his expression, it seemed as though his life had completely lost its color. When he got home in the morning, his wife told him bluntly, "You don't love me anymore. I remember when you used to. Everything was so different back then." Their conversation was still ongoing when someone suddenly knocked hard at the door. Henry opened it to find his friend Eddie standing there, accompanied by a man named Joe, who looked extremely unwell. Joe began vomiting repeatedly. Since Debbie, Henry's wife, was a nurse, she brought Joe inside to help him. That's when Eddie said to Henry, "Bro, today's the big basketball game for his team. Since Joe can't play in this condition, you take his place." Henry tried to refuse, but Eddie forced a jersey on him and dragged him along. Henry asked, "Where's the game?" Eddie replied, "Not too far, just 15 minutes away." Then suddenly Eddie told Henry to stop the car. He said, "We'll be back in a bit, just grabbing some food and drinks. Stay here, keep the engine running, all right?" As Eddie walked away, he and two other men, strangers to Henry, pulled on masks, drew guns, and stormed into a bank. Poor Henry had no idea that Eddie and his friends were actually robbing the place. Worse still, the car he was sitting in was stolen and hot-wired. Moments later, they rushed out of the bank, running in different directions. Just then, a guard noticed Henry sitting in the car. Because Henry was wearing the exact same kind of t-shirt as the robbers, the guard assumed he was part of the gang and arrested him on the spot. The police grilled Henry, demanding the names of his accomplices. But Henry only knew Eddie, and he was too naive and loyal to even mention his friend's name, thinking, "He's my buddy after all." Because of this, Henry was sentenced to 3 years in prison for attempted bank robbery. Inside jail, Henry met Max, a fellow inmate who was surprisingly friendly. The next day over breakfast, Max told him, "Every prisoner here once had dreams. Then something unfortunate happened, and they ended up here. So, what's your dream, Henry?" Henry replied softly, "I don't have any dream." Max leaned closer and said, "Not having a dream, that's the biggest crime of all. So, tell me, what is it you want?" But Henry repeated the same answer. Max shook his head. What's the point of a life without a dream? 6 months passed like this. Debbie came to visit Henry in prison. She looked uneasy and finally confessed, "I've fallen in love with someone else." But Henry, with a heavy heart yet remarkable composure, simply said, "That's all right. I just want you to be happy. If you can't be happy with me, then be happy with someone else." Meanwhile, Max had grown so accustomed to prison life that it felt like home to him. One day, inmates were joking about his parole hearing. Someone asked, "When the parole officer asked what you'd do if they released you, what did you tell him, Max?" Max smirked and replied, "I told him I'd break into his house, kill his dog, set his place on fire, and cut out the tongues of everything alive inside." Later, Henry was asked about his own parole hearing. "Next month," he said. Another inmate commented, "Everyone knows Henry's innocent." Henry added, "I never committed a crime." Max just laughed bitterly. "It doesn't matter. You've spent time in prison, Henry. Out there, no matter what you say, people will always believe you must have done something." Eventually, Henry was released. His first stop was Debbie's house. But when Joe answered the door, Henry was stunned. Even more shocking, Debbie was pregnant with Joe's child. Henry's heart sank as he realized how completely his life had changed. Debbie handed him his belongings and asked, "So, what are you going to do now?" Henry stayed silent. Then Joe offered him a business deal and added smugly, "Thanks for not naming me in court." But Henry, with quiet honesty, said, "I didn't even know your name," and walked away. Later, Henry found himself standing in front of the same bank where it had all begun. Suddenly, a car struck him, sending him sprawling to the ground. The driver was a woman named Julie. Furious, she cursed at him before asking if he was okay. Just then, the bank guard appeared and insisted on calling an ambulance. But Henry refused. The guard helped him to a nearby cafe, where Julie followed them inside. Henry looked at her and said, "I've seen you somewhere before." Julie rolled her eyes. "Don't look at me. Just watch the road when you walk," and stormed off. Later, in the cafe's bathroom, Henry noticed an old newspaper clipping pinned to the wall. It was an article about a bank robbery that had happened 80 years ago. The thieves had escaped using an underground tunnel that connected the bank to a nearby theater. That tunnel runs directly beneath the bank's vault. After learning this, Henry went straight to the prison to meet Max and told him, "I've finally found my dream. Robbing the very bank that landed me here. That's my dream. If I have to serve time, at least let it be for something I actually did." Max was confused. Henry leaned in and asked, "Will you help me pull off this heist?" Max frowned. "Do you even have a plan, or are you just blowing smoke?" Henry assured him, "Don't worry, I've got a top-class plan." Not long after, Henry visited the theater connected to the tunnel, where Julie was rehearsing her play. During practice, her director scolded her harshly, saying she wasn't good enough for the role. Upset, Julie stormed out to get coffee, muttering to Henry, "You're not following me, are you?" Henry quickly denied it, but ended up trailing her to the cafe anyway. Over coffee, Henry complimented her acting. Julie softened a little and thanked him for not filing a complaint after their accident. Meanwhile, back in prison, Max applied for parole. Thanks to Henry's coaching on how to behave before the board, Max managed to get released. When Henry arrived to pick him up, Max asked, "Where's your car?" Henry admitted, "I don't have one. I walked here." Max exploded. "You've got to be kidding me. What kind of idiot did I just get out for? Forget it. Send me back in. I don't want to be out here." But once Henry revealed his big plan, Max was stunned. "That's your plan? To rob the bank through the tunnel? That's exactly how they pulled it off 80 years ago. Do you even have guns?" Henry shook his head. "I don't want to hurt anyone." Max laughed bitterly. "Well, aren't you Mother Teresa? But think about it. After that first robbery, what if the bank moved the vault? What if it's not even above the tunnel anymore?" To confirm, they visited the bank and spoke to the assistant manager. As they walked in, the guard eyed them suspiciously. During the conversation, Max slyly confirmed that the vault had never been moved since the bank's construction. He was so smooth that the manager suspected nothing, though the guards still kept watch. Later, they returned to the theater to investigate the tunnel. Julie was surprised to see Henry again, this time with Max. Max quickly covered, "When I was young, I performed in this theater many times. I brought Henry here to show him. You don't mind if I take a look around, do you?" Julie asked him which plays he had performed. Without missing a beat, Max named Shakespeare. Then he added sentimentally, "I have so many memories here. I want to see every corner." He was granted permission. While Max was shown around, he managed to reach the door leading to the tunnel and quietly studied it. Meanwhile, Julie asked Henry what he did for a living. Henry answered honestly, "I just got out of prison. I don't do anything right now." Julie was taken aback. "Prison? What for? Did you kill someone?" Henry shook his head. "It's a long story. I'll tell you another time." Instead, they agreed to meet for dinner that evening. Later, Max told Henry, "The tunnel runs straight from the wall of a green room. We'll need to get control of that room no matter what." But Henry was more focused on his date. As he got dressed, he asked Max, "How do I look?" Max smirked, "Like you always do. Now, go enjoy your date. We'll plan later." That evening, over dinner, Julie confessed her dream. "I want to become a great actress, someone whose name is known by everyone." During their date, Henry finally told Julie the whole truth, how he ended up in prison, and how now he genuinely wanted to rob the bank. Julie was shocked at first, but by then, she had started to enjoy Henry's company and couldn't help feeling drawn to him. They went back to her place, and their closeness deepened. The next morning, Henry took Julie to meet Max, but Max wasn't pleased to see her. Henry quickly reassured him, "Don't worry, she's in on it with us." Still, Max pulled Henry aside, furious. "Why the hell did you tell her the entire plan?" Later, while eating, Julie casually asked Max what he had gone to prison for. Max answered bluntly, "I killed people, a lot of them." Julie stared at him. "Weren't you afraid of getting caught?" Max smirked. "Afraid? I like prison. It's my favorite place." Not long after, while heading to the theater, Julie and Henry got an idea. What if they arranged open auditions at the theater? That way, they could spend as much time inside as possible without raising suspicion. But Max had an even sharper idea. "Why don't we get rid of the actor who owns that green room and give Henry the role? Then we'll have full access while we dig. Nobody will suspect a thing." Henry protested, "I don't know the first thing about acting." Max laughed. "Look at yourself. You're a natural. No one else could pull this off better. And besides, it's the lead role." Sure enough, the actor conveniently dropped out, claiming he'd landed a big film role. In reality, Max had tricked him. When Julie found out, she was furious. "Are you guys seriously trying to ruin my career?" Henry auditioned and, surprisingly, was selected. Now they could continue their secret work with even more freedom. But soon they realized the tunnel job was too much for just two people. They decided to bring Joe into the plan. After much persuasion, Joe reluctantly agreed. Yet the moment he saw the tunnel, he scoffed. "Why waste time? Just grab a gun and rob the place straight up." Max glared at him. "We're not doing some half-baked stupid robbery like you'd pull. This has to be clean." The work continued steadily. Meanwhile, Henry also dedicated himself to his role at the theater. For him now, it wasn't just about money. He wanted to create something meaningful in his life. One night, as Henry was heading home, the same bank guard who had once arrested him, Officer Frank, stopped him. "You're that guy, aren't you? The one caught with the robbers. And lately, I've seen you sneaking out the back of the bank to the theater. This time, I won't let anything slide." Henry calmly told Frank to get in the car. He drove to a quiet spot and asked, "What do you really want?" Frank revealed, "Once a month, an armored truck collects currency from our partner banks and transfers it here. At that moment, this vault holds over 100 crores. Only an idiot would try to rob the bank at any other time. I can be your inside man, disable the alarms for you." The next day during Julie's rehearsal, she broke down during an emotional scene. The director snapped, "You've never been in love, have you? Never had your heart broken. That's why you can't act this out. Without that feeling, you'll never be a great actress." Shaken, Julie retreated to the bathroom and began crying. Henry followed and gently asked if she was all right. She sobbed, "No, I've never been in love. What am I supposed to do? But I want to be an actress. I have to." Henry looked her in the eyes and said softly, "You do love someone. You love me. You just don't realize it yet. And I know you'll become a great actress." They kissed for the first time. That night, as Henry and Max were finalizing details of the heist, there was a knock at the door. When Henry opened it, he found Joe and Eddie standing there. Joe looked badly beaten. Eddie smirked and said, "Joe told me everything. I'm in on the plan now." Max's face hardened. He turned to Henry and growled, "Who the hell is this clown?" Eddie raised his chin defiantly. "I know everything." Eddie sneered. "That's why now you have no choice." Max growled again. "Will someone please tell me who this idiot is?" Eddie snapped back, "I'm in this plan, old man. You're out." Max told him directly to leave, but Eddie mocked him again, calling him an old fool. That was the last straw. Max lunged at him, ready to beat him down, but Henry barely managed to hold him back. The next day at the theater, Henry and Max learned that their show would open in just a few days. This worried them. Henry admitted, "I don't think we can pull this off anymore." In truth, his heart had changed. He had fallen in love with Julie. If they robbed the bank, he'd have to run, and he couldn't bear the thought of leaving her behind. Max grabbed him and snarled, "You dragged me out of prison for this, and now you want to back out? I've spent my whole life just talking big. I was locked up for years. Now that I'm free, I'm damn sure going to make something happen." That night, Henry confessed to Julie, "We have to hit the bank on opening night. After that, I'll leave for California. You'll be in Hollywood by then. Will you meet me there?" Julie exploded in anger. "If you were going to leave, why make me believe in love? You just used me to get into the theater. I won't meet you anywhere. My mistake was falling in love with a thief." Soon, opening night arrived, along with the day of the heist. The director rallied the cast. "This is your moment. Go out there and leave your mark." Meanwhile, outside, the armored truck arrived at the bank, exactly as the officer had told them it would. On stage, Henry performed his role convincingly, then slipped away at the right moment to help his crew. Everything unfolded according to plan. They broke through the brick wall with tools, then used a massive welding machine to cut through the steel of the vault, leaving a gaping hole. Just as Max had arranged, the officer had already cut the alarm wires, so no sirens went off. But suddenly Eddie turned on them, pointing a gun at Max. "Get out of here, old man. This job is mine now." He barked at Joe. "Load the money into the car. Quick." Joe didn't like it. "Don't do this, man. This isn't right." Henry arrived just as Eddie struck Max with the gun, knocking him down. Joe shouted for him to stop. In the chaos, Max wrestled the gun away and started beating Eddie. A shot went off, grazing Henry's leg. Meanwhile, at the theater, Henry's next scene was about to start. Limping and bleeding, he rushed back and barely made it on stage. Up above, Max tied Eddie's hands, feet, and mouth, leaving him bound. Then Max, Joe, and Henry loaded up the money and fled. But suddenly Henry ordered the car to stop. Max and Joe were confused, but Henry told them, "Go on without me. I'll catch up later." When Joe asked where he was going, Max shrugged. "Forget him. Just drive." Henry ran back to the theater, limping heavily. Julie was on stage mid-performance. He climbed onto the stage and declared in front of everyone, "I can't leave you. I truly love you, and I can't live without you." By sheer coincidence, the play's script mirrored the moment perfectly. The audience thought it was part of the performance and watched breathlessly, waiting for Julie's reply. The director dimmed the lights dramatically and urged her to say yes. At last, Julie realized Henry truly meant it. After a long silence, she didn't say the word, but her expression said it all. And so, the hero finally won the heroine. As for the money, well, he had already secured that. In the end, Henry didn't just chase money, he found love and a reason to dream again. But the question remains, can a thief ever truly start over? Or will his past always pull him back into the shadows? If you enjoyed this recap, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling movie breakdowns. See you in the next video.